Look, there's a lot of star players. There's a lot of big salaries on this slate, but I think I'm really going to be attacking the mid-tier tonight because of the presence of one game. And that is Raptors-Grizzlies, where not a single ounce of defense will be played. And the best guard in that game with John Morant on the sideline is Fred VanVleet. We talked about VanVleet against the Grizzlies last week on this show. He is more expensive in this game. He's now up to $8,700, but this is someone who's averaging 38.4 minutes per game in his last 4 games, and nothing about that is abnormal. This is someone who leads the NBA in minutes played per game. He is a volume player. He's also got a 62% true shooting percentage in that 4-game span. Gary Trent Jr. might not play in this game, and that would only give more usage to VanVleet. So going up against a Memphis team that has surrendered the second most DraftKings points per game to opposing point guards, it's really hard to ignore VanVleet on this slate.
Okay, Whalen, do you agree with that? Are you going to go with someone else?
That's exactly who I have on my little cheat sheet here. Fred VanVleet, 8,700 against this Memphis defense. Grizzlies are still the worst overall defense in the NBA. Like Garion said, they're terrible against opposing point guards. The one thing is, like, without Ja Morant, maybe that defense is a little better for as great as Ja is. You can get pushed around defensively, and when you have someone like maybe DeAnthony Melton playing more minutes out there, that probably does help the defense overall. But still, that's DeAnthony Melton playing 7 more minutes is not all of a sudden turn the Grizzlies into a great defense. And on top of that, Memphis also has the worst 3-point defense in the league. They're allowing opponents to shoot just under 40% from 3. Obviously, Fred VanVleet does a ton of his work from beyond the arc. Over his last 3 games, he's averaging 25 points per game and 4 made threes over that span to go with 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.7 steals, even 1 block per game from Fred VanVleet, who's like, 6 foot, 6'1". So I really think he's in a great spot tonight. $8,700, Fred VanVleet against that Memphis defense.
Okay, Mr. Friar, you're up.
Well, I think Fred VanVleet's a great pick. The guys are spot on with that, but I am going to go with somebody a little bit different. I will go back to that Raptors-Memphis game a little bit later, but I'm going to go all the way to the top with Steph Curry at 11.4K tonight against Phoenix. And I know, you might look and say, oh, that's a little bit chalky, but you got 6 players over 10K tonight on a small slate. Quite a few quality options. I mean, James Harden going up against the Knicks, Kevin Durant, of course, in that game too, in the Lakers, and then Damian Lillard is right there at 9.7. But the biggest thing for me with Curry, of course, you're getting the consistency with him, whereas James Harden has fluctuated a bit here and there. I know Curry had that down game a few games back, but obviously it's going to happen once in a while. The biggest thing, though, is that the Suns are one of the 10 worst teams versus point guards from a fantasy perspective, and they've surrendered the 5th most points per game to point guards this season. So that's where point guards are getting their fantasy production against the Suns. And Steph Curry, I mean, what does he do best? Score. So I think that he's got to be a guy that you at least get some exposure to tonight.